Well, for you guys, it probably feels like just yesterday I was working on this car, but it's probably been a month since I've had time to work on this. I've been extremely busy doing shutdowns at many different plants all across Ontario, and I'm working 12 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week, and it's been sucking. But today is actually Christmas Day, but today I actually have off. So I've done a couple of things. I went and picked up some cars that I bought. I picked this up one night after work on my way home from Oshawa. This is a CD009. It's out of a 2006 Infiniti G35, I think it is. I paid $700 for it. I paid an extra $50 for the drive shaft because I need the insert for this. I've been looking up a lot of swap kits for this. I'm pretty much looking at a $3,000 to put this behind the 2JZ. It's everything about this car is stupid expensive. My Haltech is in the house. I got my harness for that. I am super overwhelmed with it, so that sucks. I got my drift motion turbo kit in the mail, and everything's paid. It's on its way. So pretty much I'm just feeling over my head, over my head on this car. That's what it is, pretty much. Without the kit to bolt this into this car, I'm about $10,000 into this car right now. And it doesn't run, it doesn't move, and it doesn't drive. Sometimes I think I should have just left it non-turbo and just had fun with it. But I've invested too much money in it now just to let it sit. What's going to happen with it? I have no idea. So you guys probably watched in one of my previous videos how I spent a lot of time going through the harness and untangling it because I thought I was getting a different type of harness before I ordered it. Well, all that is garbage now. So this harness is pretty much garbage. I was going to have to keep it because I was keeping the auto, but now that I got the manual, I can pretty much get rid of this harness completely. I can get rid of the factory ECU. I got 6 Yaris/Echo coils. I got LS coil brackets. So lots of different things I've gotten for this car, just nothing has gotten into the car. For the manual pedal assembly, I don't know what I'm going to use. It doesn't look like there's any holes. It doesn't look like anything I have is really going to work. But I do have a kind of random plan for that, but this car has to be torn apart to the point where it's not even going to be recognizable anymore. So we're going to have to pull it forward. I'm going to leave the motor in it for now, but I have to tear the whole dash out. And the reason I got to tear the whole dash out is because I have a couple manual Soleras that I want to try to see if I can steal the pedals out of and put into this. But this car has so much wiring in it that I don't know basically how it's going to work. But hopefully it's going to. So I guess we're going to start tearing the dash out of this thing. It's just tear down until the point where I just understand what's going on, it gets done, or I move on to something different because I'm super discouraged. You know that feeling when you don't know what's going on and you feel like you're just doing things repeatedly and it's just getting more and more expensive? That's what this car is to me right now. And it's kind of depressing. I kind of don't even want to come out here and work on it because I feel like every time I work on it, I actually just move backwards. So, yeah. It's kind of depressing, but let's keep going on it. I see all these videos on YouTube. I watch non-stop videos on Haltech and how they're doing these harnesses and how they're setting up their tunes, and I don't understand very much of it, and I guess I'm going to have to start understanding it because I have something that needs to be done, and the only way to do it is to do it myself. I can pay somebody else to do all this, but then this $10,000 car turns into a $30,000 car, and Earl is definitely not worth $30,000. So I guess I'm going to start tearing apart the dash, trying to remember how it comes apart so I can put it all back together later on. And then we're going to have to go outside and start tearing apart a Solera. The only problem with that is outside, the weather is horrible. The weather outside is frightful. Yep, that's what it looks like outside. So we're just going to shut that. let's keep going on Earl. Keep digging this project closer and closer to the ground. So we're looking for the pedal assembly donor, and we have this V6 Solera. This is a V6 manual. As you can tell by all the footprints, I've spent the last hour and a half out here in this negative, I'm gonna say 15-degree weather, and we have just torn this car apart. You know what? I miss tearing cars apart. That's one thing about this Lexus. I can't be this mean with it when I'm taking it apart. I just grab the steering wheel and rip that thing out once I undid the bolts. Cut half the wiring to the harness, because this V6 is not going to stay in this car. It's going to become a 4-cylinder for demolition derby, and it's going to become an automatic. So the clutch pedal assembly we have stolen out of it. The brake pedal assembly we have stolen out of it. Is it all going to work? I'm not too sure. I might have to come back out here and cut out the actual firewall where the clutch pedal goes, so I can have a template for the other side, but we will see. I might go inside and start tearing apart the other car, but I'm pretty much soaked and I'm extremely cold. Oh, never mind. And it's kind of Christmas Day, so it's one of the only few days I have off recently. Back to work on Boxing Day, so this might be all I've done today. So let's go take a look and see the assemblies we got. So here we have the clutch. It came out as one full unit. Some people might call this a purse, but I call it a clutch. That's just a... So anyway, it mounts with these 2 bolts here and then one more bolt down here. It gets 2 holes right through the firewall for these 2 mounting surfaces. That's what connects this. And then your big hole. And then this bolt goes through to it was a threaded hole on the firewall. And then this one right here is for a sensor for the clutch all the way down to start. And your brake system is pretty much the same. I'm hoping that I don't have to put all this in. I'm hoping maybe I can just pull out the arm and put this arm in there, because a lot of you guys don't know that the brake pedal on a manual car is a lot smaller than the brake pedal on an automatic car. There you go. You can see the size difference down there. Like I said, I'm probably not going to tear this apart today, but I'm definitely going to start soon. I might pull a couple bolts out today. I'd like to take the driver's seat out. It makes it a lot easier taking the driver's seat out. But then that means I'm going to take the power back up to try to move the seat and then take the seat right out. I'm going to try it, but I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work right now. But, oh well. Well, I went up to the house and the wife was taking a nap, so that gives me free permission to come back out to the shop. I got the dash out, but at what cost? I'm just joking. There is a lot of electrical. I'm just going to say that right now. There is a lot of electrical in this Lexus. I have greatly underestimated how much wiring is in this car. Yeah, so I'm going to try to maybe take some of it out. Like, I don't really want airbags in this anymore, and if I take them out, there's no way to really test to see if this thing even has airbags. So I'm probably going to pull the airbags. I'm probably going to try to go through a wiring diagram and pull out a whole bunch of the ABS, because there is now no ABS in this car anymore. And we're pretty much just going to make this thing just kind of like a for fun car now, I guess, because there's so much electrical in this car. Let's see if I can get in here. I don't want to touch any of the heating system because I want this car to have heat still. That's one of my main things. Underneath here is the factory fuse panel that goes here, and then this is the fuse panel that goes underneath the dash. I might try to reroute those to right here and get rid of the heat that comes back to the back here, because I can put a fuse panel right there, which would be kind of nice. It'd be hard to get at. Maybe I can make it so the panel comes out a little bit easier and quicker. But if I put one of the fuse panels there, then I have a lot more space for my clutch pedals. So, it looks like this here is a whole bunch of wasted space, so maybe I can try to use that up there for some of this electrical. But yeah, honestly, there is so much stuff inside this car. I do want to keep the power tilt steering wheel. I kind of like it. Call me fancy, call me horrible, but I like it. Well, I guess that one didn't have to come disconnected. But there is a lot of electrical in here, and they make quick disconnects everywhere, but then they put bolts so you can't get it out, and then you have to take the bolts out. It's just a bad situation. There's a lot of engineering in this car, though, and we're going to try to wreck it all. So now, I guess we're going to try to reroute a lot of this electrical away from where I have to put my clutch pedals. I'm going to put the steering column back up and try to see if there's any wiring that I can try to get out of the way before I put the steering column up, or maybe ones I can run over top of it. But that's going to take me a while. And like I said, I'd eventually like to put a fuse panel right here and then just block this off if I cut it, and then heat this up and fold it and glue it so that it's just kind of a stop thing right there, so it doesn't pump heat into where my shifter is or pump heat right into the fuse panel, but still have it so it's still got defrost and all my vents, which would be nice. So I guess let's start doing that. We're going to have to move a lot of electrical before we can even start putting in the pedals, because if you take a look, that's where my pedals got to go, down in there. So we'll get back to you, see how far I get. Well, you know, I said I was going to film this, but I definitely didn't. I've spent the last 2 days sitting right here beside this car, extending wiring harnesses, putting wiring loom on it. I still have to extend a couple more wires and splice them to these wires. The fuse panel that used to be underneath the hood, I moved to here in the spring, and then from now, I've actually moved it to underneath the center console. So I understand that's going to be hard to change the fuses, but I'm really not using most of those fuses now. With the Heltec, a lot of the wiring has actually been taken out of this. So yeah, I moved it there. I'm going to put the fuse panel right there, back in its factory spot here. As you guys can tell, I now have a small let me move this light, because you know this is some horrible lighting. I've been dealing with it all week. There you go. I have a manual brake pedal. Yay! And I actually have a third pedal. So we do have a clutch pedal underneath here now, which is kind of nice. I had to do a whole bunch of monstrosity of things here. It's all seam sealer, so it doesn't look that nice, but it's not going to leak. I had to cut apart a hood of a scrap car outside, manufacture a piece of firewall, put it in place, weld it all in place, and then I seam sealed it, along with moving the entire dash harness, because you know it was right there. I ended up using a clutch pedal out of a Solera that was manual in my backyard, but I would highly recommend not doing that, because this thing did not fit very well at all. And I used the Solera brake pedal as well, but I had to cut apart the factory one to move the piece over so that it picks up the brake booster. I had to build a new bracket for the brake sensor. So it's definitely not a 100% bolt in and go setup. What I'm going to be doing now is tomorrow I'm going to be finishing. Actually, tomorrow I work a 12-hour shift, so probably not tomorrow, but I will be finishing up the electrical, zip tying it up, and then I'm going to be putting in a whole bunch of fire blankets and basically flame retardant stuff, and I'm going to heat up these pedals so they're glowing red, and then I can put a piece of vice grips on them and bend them where I want them, because I do want the brake pedal a little bit more this way, and the clutch pedal has got to go a lot more that way. So we will be bending it here, and then here, actually probably just there, and then bending the pedal so it's actually looking proper. This one here will be bending up here to bring it over, and I want them about here. So this one here has got to come up about 1 inch. But anyway, yeah, electrical's moved. I have the dash kind of back in. I do have to drop the steering wheel one more time to put the cluster back in. But yeah, everything's coming along. Like I said, I used all the parts out of a Toyota Solera, which is basically a two-door Camry. It does not fit the best, but it does fit. I am going to just take a little bit of a hammer to the firewall. I might try to heat this up and bend it a bit, I'm not sure. But we have a clutch in this car now. I did have to take this out to do all my figuring out how stuff's going to fit, and that is not coming out of here ever again because it was hard to get that out of there. You know what? I've been working on this car probably 15 hours to put a clutch into it. Drift Motion, I believe, does sell a kit for my GS, but they're out of stock. They have no idea when they're going to get it, and it is a $1,800 American kit. So I opted to build my own. I have about 15 hours into this, and maybe $15 worth of welding wire, if that. I'd use a little bit of I'm going to be using the torch and stuff, but mostly just moving electrical, taking my time, trying to figure out what goes where, and just doing it. But you know, now we definitely got a clutch pedal in this, so I should be doing some research probably tonight when I go inside to figure out this CD009. I was just told that one of my buddies has a 1992 Toyota Supra 5-speed. Now, that could be a toss-up. It could be the W58, or it could be the R154. If it's the R154, I'm going to try to buy it, because basically I'm $750 Canadian into this transmission, and to put this into there, I'm going to be minimum another $2,000 American. So, if I can just go buy a different transmission, I'm going to answer that because it's probably my wife. So I will be checking to see if that is a W58, because if it is, or a W55, I'm not interested. But if it is the R154, I'm going to grab it, because if I even spend $1,000 on that transmission, or $1,500, because that's a ridiculous amount. Even if I spend $1,500 on it, it's still going to save me, because I can sell this. It's going to save me $1,500. So yeah, we got that. And yesterday, I didn't put this on video because yesterday I didn't do any filming at all. But my Drift Motion stainless header came in, my turbo came in, my intake, my downpipe. I believe that is a blow-off valve. Yeah, right there. This is part of it. My distributor billet aluminum cap-off plate so that I can have clearance for the turbo, because I did go a 62-65. Let me just walk over to it. You know what? This thing is super cool. I am super excited to make this car run. Yeah. Super excited to make it run. Like I said, I'm aiming for 450, 500 horsepower, and I'm gonna be there shortly. So along with everything I've done to this, the turbo kit, my Haltech, and the intake. I know the intake, you guys are gonna say doesn't add horsepower, but it gets rid of the giant, huge, annoying, air restrictive crossover system that I hated. We're going to be making some power in this car, hopefully. And I can't wait to make some power. I'm probably going to go on Drift Motion and order the different throttle cable. I was going to use a Toyota Camry one, but I still don't think it's going to be the perfect setup, so I'm just going to order the $79 throttle cable off their website and stuff like that. But yeah, we're coming along. We are getting there. We now have a part of the 3-pedal crew, getting rid of the automatic. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys back here later on Zach's Workshop.